Hello everyone, hope everybody's doing great today. Appreciate those who watched this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And today we're talking about Mel Gibson's The Passion of the Christ. I figured since today's Good Friday, why not watch this movie and then give a good talk about it. So please join me in the comments below. What do you guys think about The Passion of Christ? Did you like it? Did you not dislike it? What do you remember from it? What I remember from this movie is when it first came out, there was some in the Jewish community that didn't really like it coming out. They feared that they would raise hate crimes against the Jewish community and that people would dislike the Jews because of this movie, because it really depicts the Jews being very vicious and what they did to Jesus during Good Friday. Personally, I always thought that was kind of unfounded because Christians already know what the Jews did to Jesus. Why would we, hate them again for it? Considering we all know the history and what happened to Jesus during Good Friday, for the crucifixion and atonement and all that stuff, or those things, or whatever word you want to use. As far as I know, I don't remember any news report or any news coverage about the rise of hate crimes against the Jews. So I kind of found, when I first heard that news, I kind of found it was kind of unfounded, but you never know, it could be a possibility. And then the second thing I remember about this, when I went to see it with my wife, or girl, who was, I don't know if it was Marianne at the time, but anyways, went to see it. There was no trailers before the movie, which is like the only movie I've ever seen where it wasn't a trailer before it. I don't know what power or what strings Mel Gibson used to get that to happen, but I do know, I believe I heard or read an interview he did that he thought or felt that having a trailer before the movie would diminish the impact and the message of the movie to its audience. So I don't know, he was able to not have any trailers played before it. Those are the two things I remember about the movie when it first came out, the news about it, and kind of like the main events of this movie. I guess now Mel Gibson here is trying to make another movie about the resurrection, like what happens after the Passion of the Christ. If it does come out, I'll be probably watching it. I did enjoy what he did with the Passion of Christ. I feel like this is a very good movie. It's definitely a movie for adults. This is, he holds no punches here. He goes full blast, full board with all the violence, gore, all the pain and suffering that Jesus went through during during Good Friday. This movie starts with the Garden of Gethsemane, where he goes there and he suffers and bleeds from every pore for the sins of all humanity. And it ends with him conquering death. Spoiler alert, I guess, but conquering death was probably this time period is probably the most important events in human history for us when you talk about spirituality. And I feel like Mel Gibson did an excellent job in capturing this feel and the events that happened then, his reimagining of what happened. Really does get you to the core. It gets you more to understanding just what Jesus went through. Does it go overboard with some of the violence? I don't know. It wasn't there. But I just know that when you have the 10-minute scene of him being whipped, it really gets to you. You really see, just how harsh his treatment was. It just wasn't just a stick and your normal whips. In this movie, it depicts them having those little like blades at the end of the whip. They're actually taking chunks out of his skin. It's very hard to sit through watching somebody get beat like that. Luckily, it's not just a solid 10 minutes of him getting whipped. He does cut away to other people in the crowd and their reactions, and how they're reacting to this beating. We see him capturing how the Jews are feeling about it. For the Jews, throughout the movie, this whole thing about what they're doing for Jesus is kind of like a game to them, kind of like somewhere you do to have fun, and like you're enjoying beating the holy crap out of Jesus. You enjoy whipping him. They enjoy making him suffer. He's carrying his cross through Jerusalem, making him, and then driving the nails into his hands and stuff like that. Like the Jews, not the Jews, but the Romans. Hopefully I said the Romans at the beginning of this rant, of this sentence, but the Romans are really having fun with this. To them, this is like an event. This is like, you would go to a party or something. They're having a good time with it. They're laughing. They're joking. They're really enjoying doing these tormenting Jesus in this movie. And then for the Jews, it's something kind of different. Their leaders, it's more of a law thing that, they see Jesus as somebody breaking the law, being doing I would say abominations, but doing things that are totally against the religion. He's claiming to be a son of God. They don't believe that. He's discriminating against their religion. He's kind of like mocking it, I guess, in a way. Even though he believes this, he's turning people away, teaching them false doctrine. That's how they feel about it. So it's very important to them. It doesn't really get into much if they feel like this is a political thing, like if the Pharisees, their leaders, we don't really get into much in this movie if they feel like they're losing their power because Jesus. Mel Gibson don't really get into that very much. It's just all about what we see in the scriptures. For the most part, he holds pretty true to what's in the scriptures in this movie. He does kind of relish, or not relish, but what's the word? Over exaggerate, I guess, or add in some scenes. Like you get some scenes of like a demon or something underneath the bridge at the beginning of the movie. And then you kind of see Satan in the crowd and stuff. And he does a very good job, to me, of depicting Satan. At the Garden of Gethsemane, we see Satan kind of tempting Jesus not to go through with what he's wanting to do, with, suffering for our sins, and then being crucified. He keeps on trying to turn him away from it. We see how Satan really does tempt us to do those things that we're not supposed to be doing. And then, Satan's kind of like this creepy evil. He just looks really evil, menacing type of a character in this movie. And we see him kind of throughout. I kind of get the feeling like when Jesus is being whipped by the Romans, like Satan's presence there, he's the driving force for them, for their harsh treatment of Jesus. Like, even though he's not saying anything or whispering to the ears, just his presence alone among them is driving them to be more hateful and more driven to really punish, really hurt Jesus. Then when he goes to the crowd, we see him kind of entering in and out of the crowd and kind of driving their hatred towards Jesus is walking. So I kind of feel like that's what Mel Gibson's using Satan for in his scenes. And so I think he does a really good job at depicting him. Then, we have Mary Magdalene's character. In this one, Mel Gibson kind of uses Mary Magdalene's character. In this one, she's the one who's like the adulteress. I've seen people teach that she's an adulteress, and then use her, and then she's the woman who washes his feet, and they just use her like wherever they feel like, I guess. I don't know. In her story, to me, I don't think Mary Magdalene was the adulteress. She's probably something else. I don't know what you guys believe. What do you guys believe in the comments? What is Mary Magdalene? Is she adulteress? Where do you see her at in the scriptures? Because she's named numerous times in the scriptures. She's throughout the New Testament, especially in the first 4 doctrines. And then, of course, she's the one who first saw Jesus as he's resurrected. So we know that she's a very important person in Jesus' life. How close was he to him? I guess it doesn't really say, but it's a lot of evidence showing that she was somebody who was very near to Jesus when he was living on earth. I say on earth because we know if you're a Christian, you believe that he's still alive, that he did resurrect, that he did conquer death. Looking at my notes here to see what else I want to point out. I also like the idea that, not the idea, but I also like that Mel Gibson showed Pilate's dilemma in his judgment of Jesus. He is somebody under great pressure during this time. A lot of weight is on his personal, not only on his political career, but on his life. If he chooses, he's afraid if he makes the wrong decisions, there could be a rebellion in the area. And it points out that, Caesar doesn't want any more disruptions in that area. And if there is, it could be his life. It could be something troublesome for him. in there. If I do have like one negative thing to say about the movie, I feel like the cross carrying there at the end when he's carrying his cross to the hill, I feel like that whole scene is like a little too long. They could be cut a little bit in half. You know, just like we've already seen the Romans basically beat the crap out of him the whole movie, and it was just the whole walk towards the hill is just another 10 or 15 minutes. It feels like it drags on of them doing the same thing they've already done. You know, they could probably show that, cut that down to like 5 minutes where we get the idea that, you know, he's being whipped. The Romans are teasing him, torturing him as he's carrying the cross to his final destination. So I'd say if that's one thing, one of the major negatives I would have about the film, that is it. Got a lot of symbolisms that Mel Gibson's able to show, like the important objects that he's able to show about about his atonement, about him being crucified. You know, there's one example is this when he shows like a solo shot of the hammer that drilled the nails into his hands when he's being crucified. Just overall, I think this is a great movie. Like if you really want to show somebody, you know, about what happened to Jesus during Good Friday, this would be the movie to show you. Like I said, it's not something you want to show to little kids because Mel Gibson does go all out on the violence, on the gore, on the beatings. You know, he goes, there's no holding back. You know, if you want to show something to all ages, be like Jesus of Nazareth, a movie like that. But if you got an adult friend, you know, and you want to really show what Jesus did, what he went through for him, this would be the movie to show him. Kind of interested to see how The Chosen is going to handle this scene of the Good Friday. You know, when he goes to Gethsemane through the crucifixion, how they're going to do it, how they're going to handle it. I got a feeling that might be a little bit in between Jesus of Nazareth and the Passion of Christ. That's what I got to say about this. I liked it. I like this movie, especially this time of year. You know, really helps me remind me about, you know, what Jesus went through and how much he loved us and was willing to go through in order for us to be able to have eternal life. So, I mean, sometimes it's great to have that visual presentation there as well, so you can really see it. So what's your guys' opinion? Do you guys like the Passion of Christ? Do you enjoy it? Do you think it's too much? Do you think it's too far-fetched? I mean, there are some supernatural stuff in there, like I said, with the demon thing under the bridge. I don't know where you get that from. I guess I hear somewhere like a nun had a dream, and she wrote down her dream, and that was in her dream type of thing, about what the crucifixion and the atonement and all that good stuff. Anyways, have a great day. Hopefully you enjoyed this. And if you're here for 13 minutes, you're a trooper. Have a great day. Bye.